trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, we'll take you there. On Target with Francis Pierre, live at noon, Monday to Thursday. We're there on 91.9 and 91.5. Join the talk, we keep it live. Yeah, on Target's here. Socio topics, breaking news, different voices, different views. It's your chance, come take the mic. 442.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as I start this program, you have the opportunity to join, to participate. We are on Real FM 91.9, 91.5. 94.9, that is We Noise FM in Brooklyn, New York. We always encourage you to subscribe to Real FM, particularly at that time. Give us support. The technology requires that. Subscribe, like, share our program. We have a responsibility to understand that we have to stand the consequences of our own action. When we take actions, there are repercussions. And sometimes we look shocked when we make some deliberate decision. And the result, now we look shocked. Some people asking for divine intervention, as if God is a pipe. You do stupidness and you go and open the pipe and expect God to help you. Where the church? Where God? You have an opportunity in a democracy to choose the government of your choice. And that decision you make could determine what happened to you later. The Grenada economy. I'm no economist. But the Grenada economy is depending on tourism, St. George's University, and the service industry, remuneration, export from agriculture, and the sailor passport. Yes, caller, welcome.
I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Senior.
Yes, my brother.
Senior, I am very much concerned, very, very much concerned as it relates to Carriacou and Parliamentary in relation to housing. Not much progress has been made, and anybody could attest to that. Not much progress had been made on the island of Carriacou, especially Parliamentary, as it relates to assistance with building, assisting people to build back the houses. Carriacou and Parliamentary still remain in a state. And what concerned me more is when the Minister of Housing made a statement and said, I think by the ending of this month or last month, if I get my facts right, that all the help that one used to get from the burial fund, it will be no more. And when that statement has been made, it really touched my heart. I asked myself the question, the present state of Grenada presently right now, the country is bankrupt. Presently right now, it is a struggle for money in Grenada. In other words, our economy is not doing that well. The money is not circulating on the ground. So the question that one need to ask, if the relief that we got, the $118 million that we got, plus millions and millions other monies that had been received by this administration, Come on. When I heard the MIT minister made a statement and said that $40 million was spent in Grenada and build back better houses, I asked myself the question, where this $40 million has spent in Grenada as it relates to build back better houses. And he went further to say that $20 million spent in Carriacou and Parliamentary. Well, if Carriacou and Parliamentary was the two small island that was devastated, 100% devastated, then you only spent $20 million in Carriacou and $40 million on the mainland of Grenada. Where are the evidence to substantiate the fact? There are people in Carriacou present right now that is in limbo. They are not getting the help, Mr. Pierre. They're not getting the assistance. The hardware would not release any material. And it seems to me that this administration just relaxing on Carriacou and Parliamentary, but the cry is all there. It seems to me that they're very relaxed. Look, the situation in Cloget, it is not getting better. How the school children is going to move from one point to the other. I think they need to take a holistic approach as it relates to Carriacou and the housing. People in Carriacou are crying out. And this is no bones about it. This is no make-up story. And the sad thing with this administration and their supporters, the many time that you decide to speak about the things that you see that concern you as a citizen, then they're ready to jump down your throat. I'm afraid not one of them, but I'm very much concerned. Please, administration, you are hearing me. The people in Carriacou and Parliamentary need assistance for housing. I rest my case, Senior.
Yes, and it's an important cry, and it well fits in with how I started this morning. We have to prepare to accept some consequences for the actions we take. We selected a bunch of political neophytes, a fake for a prime minister, a corrupt individual, a bunch of basic thieves that raid the Grenada Development Bank. That should be a shocker that reverberates to every sector of the society. Grenada Development Bank, the regulation, the laws in place to protect that bank was instituted in 1973. You have modern day, highly certificated individual who jumped the fence and raid the bank. In my opinion, they are thieves, blatant thieves. And we have a number of people that stand up and watch them rob the bank and say nothing. You said the government is bankrupt. I don't agree with you. The government boasts that they had over 500 million in a permanent treasury. They got 100 million from Saudi Arabia. 118 million as a result of the insurance money. $1 billion from the sale of passport. And they said the inland revenue was collecting more money than was projected. Plus they got a little thing here and there. So how they could broken? This government is spending money as if they're on coke. The first time I heard somebody refer to the NDC spending money as if they're on coke was Kennedy Boudlal in the previous government regime. This government is spending money as if they inherited money. Like when you have a wayward child inherit money and they gone in Las Vegas and gamble. This government have been traveling as never come see. Living lavish lifestyle, gala action, running up tourist hotel bill, and some ministers travel with a boat. The prime minister himself is the worst example of extravagant lifestyle. And I always warn Grenadians, when you go back in history, some of the politicians that end up with lavish lifestyle end up no good. The butcher of the Congo was one. He teared the skin from the backs of over 20 million Africans just to live lavish lifestyle in Belgium. It was the imperial power in Europe that called on the Belgian government to restrain the butcher of the Congo. You had Michael de Freitas, a civil rights leader. Look at how he ended up just because of lavish lifestyle. I'm so disappointed in Richard Duncan. Why Richard Duncan? Model public officer, advocated to walk the straight and narrow. Keith Mitchell took him, went to the enemy camp, and took Richard Duncan to be in charge of FRAC, practically to monitor and report on the economic behavior of the NNP. Who does that? You go to the enemy camp and you take one of your enemies to monitor and report on your economic behavior. So Richard Duncan cannot tell Deacon Mitchell what he's doing is wrong. Instead of looking on technicalities to sue Jenny Simon, Richard Duncan, you cannot tell Deacon what you're doing is wrong. What you do in the Grenada Development Bank, you just thief the people money, you go there and get money illegally. How could we treat our country like that? When all this money pass in your hand, 118 million came in your hand as a result of the hurricane. And Carriacou and the north was the area that damaged most. When you hear some of the things that go on, and now speaking to the diaspora and NDC heavyweight, when you hear some of the things on the ground, it makes you wonder. A contract was provided to build a boathouse. 20,000 to the builder. Small house. I guess it's 2-room veranda or whatever. Toilet. Toilet in concrete. 20,000. The builder got a contract for 20,000. But a different contract for the electrician. A different contract for the plumber. And a different contract for the painter. The house can finish. Painter can paint. Electrician don't come in. What is that? In a small country like Grenada, this level of corruption have hit the ground. Richard Duncan, a man of your caliber, how could you walk with your head high and watch all these things going on? And we can't blame NDC alone, you know. All of us in Grenada have to take blame. We selected a bunch of political neophytes with no good track record. And as soon as they come in power, they're hungry for money that do not belong to them. They live in gala lifestyle. They're traveling with great extravagance. They're running up hotel bill. And they try to promote themselves in a privileged class. So they consider some Grenadians as classless and commoners and beggy. Well, Richard Duncan, what happened? You all join this class. What happened? All in a privileged class then? As far as I know, you are poor people, children. So when you all come in this privileged class, to turning up your nose at the ordinary man and supporting this group of rogues. They're rogues, common rogues. Look at what went on in the Grenada Development Bank, the National Lottery, Government Concrete, and now they squander the hurricane money. Hurricane is at our doorsteps. The season is at our doorsteps. We're in the month of August. Any time from now, we could go back in the active hurricane season. NAGMA or whatever should be providing information to our people now who have their homes to encourage them to buy hurricane strap, revisit the roof, and use screws where you have nails. We have called on the government repeatedly to drop the concession, take out the VAT and the tax on screws and screw guns. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, caller, welcome.
I listen to your program regularly, okay? There's one gentleman that started calling not too long ago, changes his voice, and then comes through with his normal voice afterwards. I was told, and we were told, that he's been paid to do that, to disrupt your program. While he's doing that, well, when you would have stopped, and I tried to say that he shouldn't be given permission to be doing that, you continue to entertain him by telling me I shouldn't try to show him that he shouldn't be disturbing your service, your program, which I find is funny. Whereas you are entertaining him for almost half an hour. You are entertaining one man for so long. Whereas there are other people who wants to contribute. He is being paid to disrupt your program, and you're saying, okay, leave him, let him continue to disrupt the program. I don't find this is wise. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, caller. We have some big issue in the country. We have the issue of corruption with the government. We have the issue of ministers thief in the morning in the Grenada Development Bank. They go, they break down the railing in the bank, and they take in the money. We have the issue of government receiving 118 million for the hurricane. And now the rainy season is here. The people in Carriacou watching Coco Jenna Pie. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yeah, my brother.
This issue that a lot of some of your callers, I should say,
You could just speak a little louder for us. Somebody is coming.
some of the issues, the issue that some of the callers are making relative to people who call in your program and disturb your program, as they sometimes put it, I have a problem with them doing that kind of thing too. They need to understand that you are promoting the whole issue of freedom of speech. People talk. If they want to shoot themselves in the foot, they don't want to hang themselves with their own hands, let them do it. Because the whole effort to refute a whole lot of things of what you normally would say, other program hosts on this radio station don't say, and what I don't say, because I'm very critical of that administration and especially of the Prime Minister, because I haven't trust him for 1 second. And he leads a pack that are just obnoxiously, what you could call them, ducklings. Because they just go along. They walk behind, like, if you look at how ducks operate, or chickens of that sort, they follow the mother wherever it goes. And if you go over a precipice, they jump over the precipice too. You ever see ducklings go in that kind of situation and they cannot fly to come back up, a jump to come back up. I've seen them a lot of times. And that's the kind of mentality that permeates this administration. They are out of context. The reality shows, and before I go ahead, I heard articulation from the opposition leader this morning, Mr. Pierre, and it was just simply amazing. He was on GBN radio this morning. I did not get a chance to call because they couldn't they couldn't have real callers at the time. I was hoping to get to. But we have a situation in Grenada where the government is blindly, or people related to the government just blindly going along. And they cannot deny the fact that they don't know what they are doing. They are groping in the dark. There's no question about it. And I hear some of the things that, let me also say that I was angry with the very opposition leader and people like her who belong to Parliament relative to that new law that they before to pass the day they brought it in Parliament. And is hoping the next session to bring it back. That relates to redefining what a child really should be called. Because once you pass the stage of a child, you become an adult. And some of the decisions that she articulated this morning, that this law is going to give to children, it is just simply abominable. There's no question about that. I got the gist of it when I heard the news on GBN before they had to play in Parliament. And I was hoping to have a clarity coming from you, for example, and Andre, people like you and Andre, I should say, but particularly you and Andre, the day when I called and I brought up the subject matter, I was hoping that Andre would have information relative to what the law is about. You would have that kind of understanding or information, because the parliamentarians are privy to what the law is about. The document that has to do with it, it's in their hands. And I've not heard until this morning the opposition discuss the issue. And she was very clear about it. Although it's not completely explained, but what she explained, it was very clear. And this law, Grenadians need to stand up against it. Now, it is interesting that if I remember rightly, on the 28th of this month, there will be a forum in Queen's Park dealing with that subject matter. And I hope people like you will be there. I hope I'll be there for sure. There's no question about that. And my mouth will be loud as usual. If my mouth is loud at all. But the thing is, the kind of mentality that guides these guys and them is just atrocious. And I've heard the Prime Minister himself say that law was initiated by not the law, sorry, the bill was initiated by the previous administration. And this man is just what the whole thing is about. And this is the kind of discussion I think you should have going forward. Andre, for example, people like Sheldon Scott, explain these things to people. The lies that the Prime Minister in particular has been perpetrating in this country. I mean, Mr. Pierre could tell the whole day and just
but don't take the
blast this guy.
Yes, Colin. Yes, Colin.
But it's just too much to bear in this country right now.
Yes, thank you.
It's a serious.
That is why we say to people, you have to prepare to stand the consequences of your own action. If the government is rushing bills in Parliament around Carnival time, very important fundamental bills, and a government that have a Prime Minister lying more than one horse trotting, and those bills are fundamental bills, and the government is not known to provide information readily, that alone That alone is enough for you to be suspicious. We have accused the government of bribery. The Prime Minister said he paid money for good relationship. And we interpret that statement to be bribery. The Prime Minister increased the income of his ministers by over 300%. And as a result of that, those ministers get paralysis of the tongue. We tell you repeatedly that there is a third party that is directing our foreign policy. We ask the question repeatedly, who sent the Prime Minister? Nothing that we say on the program have been challenged by the NDC politicos a mouthpiece. Sometimes I'm disappointed with some NNP. When somebody call the program and you believe they're trying to derail it, counter the program with arguments. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes,
Good
scholar.
afternoon. Mr. Pierre, if they get society on us, she never tell that. She come on earlier this morning and say that so the government increases salary. She gets society on us too. People get society on us too. All of them get a fight on us. I don't know why they talk about they increase the salary. Yes, they increase the salary for everybody. So Pierre, I listened to this morning. And this woman is a Nunkom poop. Can you imagine this woman speak this morning? And she condemned everything. But she can't have one solution. What kind of nonsense woman is that? She condemned everything, nothing no good. But she can't have one solution. She can go to cost of living. What will she do to bring down the cost of living? Tell us. Don't go
Caller,
Tell us. You don't go to say cost of living. Yes, yeah. But what you will do to bring down? This woman is Mr. Pierre, this woman and the NFP, they join with the CIA to bring down Deacon Mitchell.
Caller. You see, that is the challenge we have with you. When statements are being made, counter the statements rather than going after personality. The cost of living in Grenada was increased as a result of the direct action of Deacon Mitchell and his team. Let me repeat that. Deacon Mitchell contributed to the high cost of living. Ask any economist, any businessman, any manager in the country. If you raise the price of sugar, you raise the price of water, and you raise the price of electricity, then directly you raise the cost of living. If you come in power and you raise the income that politician is getting by over 300%, you're going to raise the expectation and the cost of living. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah?
Yes, my brother.
Good afternoon to the listeners. Now, I've been making an observation in recent time, and I've seen quite a few pieces of property is being purchased, and that property is being purchased, and it is being headed by one that was called the Water Lady. Water Lady, one of the bottlers of water in Grenada. My own analysis of it seemed to me she's been used by whether it's a minister or ministers in government. That seemed to me that money has been coming out from the coffers of this country to purchase these properties, which I could make mention of. One of the properties you know is Freedom Street. You might know that place very well. And a sign goes up on the property which says purchased by one just after the gas station in Grand Brass. And I'm watching. There seems to be some lucrative spending And as I said, it seemed to me one person is being put up front as though she is the owner or she is the person purchasing these properties. But I can say we big and we have sense, and time will tell. I'm breaking the ice here because it seemed to me some things, some corruption, something is going on. That's just my observation for now. I decided to break the ice on it because I'm watching it and things are unfolding. More and more properties are being bought. I don't know if it's by one member of the government or members, but that individual is used up front as the front person, as the sole owner of this property. Thank you.
You see, when the members of the people call and they make these open-ended statements and don't want you to interact with them, then that is how I respond to it. The Deacon Mitchell corrupt government directly contributed to the increase in cost of living. When you raise the cost of water, you raise the cost of electricity, and you increase your income by over 300%, and you raise the price of sugar, you raise the cost of living. Yes, the cost of living would have raised because of all the other external factors. But governments in the past, since in 1973, put measures in place to keep basic goods down. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, scholar.
Mr. Pierre, I am disappointed. Disappointed in the sense that I was seeing that program to be a very respectful program. And it is said, from a bag of coals, we get nothing but dust. The Prime Minister, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, disrespected the leader of the opposition in the House of Parliament by calling her mother hen. Now we have this gentleman, and I style him as a gentleman. I don't give him no derogatory name. This gentleman calling the program and describing the opposition leader as a nincompoop. Mr. Pierre, your brother's wife, and Mr. Pierre, you don't put that man in his place? I am very much disappointed, Mr. Pierre. I'm telling you straight out. I am very much disappointed. We have to set the record straight where respect is due. This man cannot come in on the program and calling the opposition leader a nincompoop. He's out of place with his dirty self. And I'm going to give him now.
Caller, you see how you
see now you want to stop me now, Mr. Pierre. Mr. Pierre, yes, you're going to stop me now. You're going to stop me now, and I know you're going to stop me now.
Well, you cannot on one.
himself. Who is nincompoop with him?
You cannot on one hand complain
no,
what the guy
Pierre, no. We have to put a stop to it. The Prime Minister call our mother hen. Now he coming on
Caller.
He's got a rat. Who is he?
Caller.
Mr. Pierre, your program. Go ahead.
Caller. We can on one hand criticize Deacon and his team for where they're going, bringing us down. This is my biggest fear, you know. My biggest fear in Grenada is that the NNP come like the NDC. That is my biggest fear. That the NNP members start to come like the NDC members. What will happen to this small country? Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, you hear me? Oh, I didn't realize you weren't hearing me at first. You was on the radio, on the telephone part of it, the direct line. Oh, sorry. Now, Mr. Pierre, you hearing me now?
Yeah, we heard you all the time.
Right. The same thing I was trying to point out earlier on, that some of the scholars, let them hang themselves by their tongues.
You see, we let in one caller call, and then the whole program end up with what the one caller say. We have so much important thing to talk about.
We need to clarify things. Mr. Pierre. if the cost of living goes up, the cost of electricity and water in particular, that's two critical areas of production of things in this country, or any country you might say, automatically cost of living will go up. They took out the cap on gas, which automatically brings up cost of living for travelers. Hello, that's simple common sense. So when this guy is trying to say about it's like Mr. Pierre, Mrs. Pierre is talking nonsense, and this whole issue doesn't belong to the subject matter. He does not understand a thing of the issue. Pure and simple. Take care.
Yes, and that's why we have to make him understand and others. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes.
Well, sorry others get on before me, but you see that man?
I don't want to
I don't
go in
want
that
to, but he's
direction.
out of order. Miss Pierre, not in his category. He's out of order. They're too disrespectful. And I don't know why you are accommodating him on the program. He has no respect. He just has, he and Deacon Mitchell, I don't know which one better, and all the others. He's out of it. Tell him, I say, don't, and think nothing about this begging. Please,
Right.
don't come on the thing and call and because if I meet him face to face, me and him, I wouldn't bow for him.
All right. Okay.
I wouldn't bow for him.
Okay.
He's too out of order.
Okay.
Miss Pierre not in his category.
And you,
Right.
Yeah. And let me just make a statement. When Deacon Mitchell referred to the opposition leader as mother hen, I took quite a lot of objection to that. But Maurice Bishop referred to Eugenia Charles as mother hen. So it was a communist reaction. It was reaction of the communists and the Marxist-Leninists to try to personally intimidate and minimize other people. So it was not just an insult. It was because of the extreme left in the country that statement was used. A mother hen. He called Barbados leader yard fowl. And it's in that context I see it. Now we might jump up over the mother hen as an insult. Yes, but it came from the left. It came from the communists. The speaker in the house should have objected. Peter David had to stand up in the house because he was then the most senior politician in the house and asked for it to be withdrawn. But Peter David must be happy because Peter David is part of the extreme group that is growing in our country. So whether Peter David, the Speaker of the House, or Deacon Mitchell was the same group of left-wing extremists. And it's better to see it in that context. It was a left-wing group. It is a common expression. When Jenny Simon spoke and they used drones to intimidate Jenny Simon, they was threatening her. It was a threat from the left. They expect her to pick up she steel beam and go. But Jenny Simon continue. So they use technicality to try to see they could bog her down in the court. Not that they could win her, But these guys have money galore. And they believe if we could tie up Jenny in the court 4 or 5 times and she had to get a lawyer, she will get bankrupt. When the left asked to jail Andre and close down the radio station and financial strangulation, it is the policy of the left. I didn't hear you and cry from NNP members and say, no, Andre, we go support your station, You still have to be begging to subscribe to the station. When the government of the day refused to give Francis Pierre $9,000 for agriculture, that is financial strangulation. When the Nutmeg Association and those dealing with fertilizer refuse to give the farmer 5 bags of manure, when the Public Workers Union decide to remove Francis Pierre from the medical health plan, is the extreme in our country that is using strategy to shut the voice of those who speak. Yes, scholar, welcome. In that context, you must understand. Yes, scholar.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
I don't see what's the big deal about the way the caller referred to the opposition leader. You have a way of calling the prime minister all kind of names. So I don't see why you guys take offense at how you call the opposition leader. You call him whatever name you want anytime. So what's wrong in calling the opposition leader names too?
All right, thank you, caller. Yes, so you must see these things in the context in which it is used. An effort has been made by the extreme group in our country to silence the free voice of people in our country. That is what the revolutionary people did. They jailed 3,000 Grenadians. They castrated individuals. They executed people. They walk on the back of some women in the night. And a couple thousand flee the country. The same strategy is being used again. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, may I come back? That person who just called it, tell him the name you just call Deacon Mitchell, they started in cabinet when he just came in there to call other people all kind of a different. So if you calling him other names, them started. All the bad thing was starting greater now, whether calling them, whether what. The Deacon Mitchell started. So whatsoever, howsoever you call him, he started it. They stay all here and the members and them stay in parliament and call who is what and all kind of a name they give people. So you're right to say what you say. He started. So whatsoever name you call him, he deserve it. Them started in cabinet. So you follow. Make him do know that.
Normally, when I say something about the prime minister, I give reasons why I do that. I always give reasons. And I invite them to challenge me on that. When I say the prime minister is the corrupter in chief, the prime minister in Grenada is the most corrupt political leader that ever passed in the country. And I give reasons why. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, welcome.
Yes. You know, Proverbs 26:27 says, whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone will have it rolled back on him. Maurice Bishop, find out who was the real yard fowl. And very soon, Deacon would know, you will get to know who is the real yard fowl, the real mother hen. You see, we have some people in this country, when they can't face the reality of the wickedness that they are doing, they choose to call your names. I end up in situation already whereby NDC men tell me how my mother make me. Well, I laugh because these things don't get under my skin. And the truth is that Deacon Mitchell have been proven to be one of the most corrupt leaders in the Caribbean. This is not false accusation. It is by the man action. But I want his supporters to go read the whole book of Proverbs, because it is full of wisdom. And what you are trying, Mr. Deacon Mitchell, what you are trying to do with people's children, he going to come back to haunt you. There is a God in heaven, and he gave parents instructions to raise their children, not no politician, right? Not no politician. The raising of children. Are you trying to destroy people's children? Are you trying to destroy the family and destroy the country? But there is a God in heaven, and I guarantee you, look what Boris Bishop did, and you see how we end up. Look at all the dictators in the world. How long do they reign for? The day every single man day is coming, and I hope you all take warning before it is too late. Mr. Pierre, have a good day, sir.
You see, one of the important things he says is the destruction of the family. The communists, the atheists, and the Marxist Leninists, they don't want strong families. They do everything to dilute the significance of the church. And we must not close our eyes in Grenada. That's why I said repeatedly, we have to prepare to accept the consequences of our own actions. But we speak about it to point out to people, to educate them, to challenge the status quo. And you see, every time we challenge them, they duck. They can't face the truth. So they come back with personal attacks. They cannot face the truth. You hear we speak about corruption in the bank. They're not speaking about that. You hear we speak about corruption in National Lottery. They're not speaking about that. You hear we challenge them on the 100-house unit in Carriacou. They're not speaking about that. You hear we challenge them on the amount of lies they told to our people. They're not speaking about that. Yes, Scholar, welcome. Scholar, you there?
Mr. Pierre.
Go right ahead.
Mr. Pierre. He's a liar. I was Mitchell say we have gas in Falls. Up to now, no gas. You all can be the Mitchell in the next election. He's winning again. I'm telling you, my brother. This guy is a popular man. Be careful what you're saying, man.
Yes, Scholar. You see these statements?
With him.
Yes, Scholar, welcome.
He went back to visit a lady. The lady brought out a picture of Deacon. That was only campaign time, eh? And she said, you know, how you look like baby Jesus? So the guy said to her, what about that? You know, why is using that to determine if you vote for somebody or not? That lady got so angry, eh? She just referred to baby Jesus, you know. The guy had to leave the lady's yard, or she house and she yard, with obscene language pelted at him. She just talking about baby Jesus, you know. When that same baby Jesus tell the nation that young people are most likely to look up at, that morality is a private thing. What kind of philosophy is that? What kind of policy you expect to come from a person with such philosophy or certain perception of things? And people need to understand this guy in that light. And that law that they hope to bring forward in this country should be seen to a whole extent in that light. Morality is a private thing this guy conceptualizes or philosophize. And there we are with a man like that as a leader of a country. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, wake up.
Yes, Scholar. Yes, the guy dabbled with the occult. Grenada, we have a number of saltless Christians. They was there on the stage with him. Pastors was there when the guy was dabbling in the occult. Well, if it was an accident then, or they didn't know, or they was shocked, then he said morality is a private thing. And we constantly ask, who sent Deacon Mitchell? And who is the third party directing our foreign policy? At least some of the NDC heavyweight should have been curious. Then we see the individual break down the railing and they raid the Grenada Development Bank. The thief, that is thief. If you take the money deliberately by illegal means, they didn't even show sophistication by amending the law. How could we support that? One of their own, Lacrette, become the whistleblower. They fire the whistleblower. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Hello?
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, boss. How are you?
Great, man.
Okay. I heard a guy a while ago speaking and saying but how Deacon Mitchell is so popular. But he's right. Deacon Mitchell is very popular. He's popular for telling lies. He's popular for doing all the wrong things. He's popular for encouraging corruption. And I believe he himself is involved in corruption. Tell a guy that. Also, he had one all day and run him out and the opposition leader. If he had any sense and he had listened carefully, he would have heard how much different things she said that could have been done. But he's so biased and stupid that he can't hear that. They are so dunce and foolish. You see, these NDC people, they are shit eaters. They eat every stupidness they can say. They're not listening. They don't care nothing about this country. They care only about Deacon. What's good about Deacon? All Deacon is doing is wrong thing. He's the worst prime minister ever passed in the whole of the world. And to me, he's a very stupid man because if he had sense, he would have been listening to people and changed his stupid attitude. Tell them, I say, Deacon is a stupid fool they're talking about. He's an incompetent, not the opposition leader. Goodbye.
Yes, and I always try to avoid these strong languages. I always believe we could sit down and discuss issues. And we have a last caller. That you will be our last caller. Caller, punch. Your last caller. Okay, we lost him. Your call on the line?
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, welcome.
You okay?
Yes, good.
Yes. Mr. Pierre, I listened to your program a week before and we're talking about women and politics. And I agreed with you when you said that. So Eric Gary had brought in 2 women to run for elections, and they won. That was Nadia Benjamin, I think was Northwest St. Andrews, and
Whipple Ned Northeast.
St. Andrews Northeast. And they have worked, they had with Cynthia Gary in St. David's, the wife of former Prime Minister Eric Matthew Gary. She was the education minister, and we have seen how many schools that was
28 schools in 13.5 years.
Yes, right. And then follow that, the New National Party under the leadership of the Right Honorable Dr. Kit Mitchell had more or less followed that trend. When I
the Prime Minister Education.
Yes, and there were about, you could help me, I may be wrong, 7 women in the parliament. Yeah? And when you look at the work and the performance of those women with the men, you could see the growth of development where education and social services and the cost of living and many more to mention. So it's not by guess that today we have, the NNP has a political leader in the name of Mrs. Emmeline Pierre, MP, and leader of the opposition. This is not by guess. It's the work that has been done over the years. And also, she's the leader of the opposition. And when you listen her, especially today, I'm telling you, Mr. Pierre, my heart goes out to her for the information and the education that we learn listening from her. And what strikes me most is when she talks about that explosion in her country.
Next time you have to call me Oli.
In telescope.
Yeah.
And the question is, what is the situation And I like the government, especially the gravel and concrete and the ministry.
Thank you, caller, but you're going to call me tomorrow. Thank you. That is a very good point, Yon. Sorry you didn't punch with it first. So we just come to the end of the program and we want to go back to what we said earlier. We have to prepare to accept the consequences of our action. We selected a greedy government, an unknown entity, a disrespectful group of people who is preoccupied with making money for themselves. They have no respect for people. They see Grenadians as classless, some Grenadians, and commoners, and beggy. And as a result, a number of people gravitate towards them. So they hush them out in silence because I believe they're getting good relationship money. The government received 500 million plus in the treasury, 100 million from Saudi Arabia, 118 million from the program, 1 billion from selling passport. Inland revenue was collecting more money than was projected. How come they don't have money? The government is behaving as a group of thieves in the Grenada Development Bank, and I am disappointed in Richard Duncan to stand up there and don't nudge Deacon and tell him you can't do that to the bank. I'm absolutely certain if they didn't hide Glenwell in Cuba, you'd have tell him not to do that. I firmly believe if they didn't hide Glenwell in Cuba, you'd have tell him, oh, you can't do that. What the government did in the bank is unacceptable. We have made a call before to the Integrity Commission to start an investigation into the corruptor-in-chief and those corrupt acts in this country. And we want to encourage people to be tolerant. You have to prepare to sit down and discuss this issue without getting too hot. I want you to no scramble nobody. Some of the people in the forefront, they're getting burnt already. Jenny Simon, they send Jones behind her. Real FM, they try financial strangulation and threats. And the NDC militants, they have to hide their face on social media to attack you personally. We're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. And we invite everybody to express your views. And we beg people to defend NDC without attacking those who are telling you the truth. Because truth in tongue, and you have to deal with the truth. Thank you very much.
When the clock hits 12, you know where to be. Turn it up, Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend. We talk it out from end to end. And if you've got something to share, pick up the phone, we'll take you there.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour.
Welcome to the latest news update as produced by Triple N. I'm your presenter Maxine Antwine when we return the details.
In an industry where customers expect quality, M&N Hardware Limited is a leader in locally manufactured aluminum windows, doors, roofing, and guttering. Our manufacturing division is efficient, flexible, and will always go the extra mile to